Okay, hey everybody. I guess my name is Dr. Lover, and just gonna go over two ranked games that I played recently. Um, I'm ranked 6, and when I recorded this, I was hovering right around um, 250 on the leaderboards, and I think when I ended, I was at 217. So, um, I'm playing. I didn't show it. I'll post a link at the bottom of the video. Um, I'm playing a pretty standard Yennefer Radovid control deck, um, and we'll kind of see how the deck plays here in these two games. The first game I play against is PFI Full Test, which is a really popular deck on ladder, and so we have a few tech cards in the deck to help us handle that. So yeah, let's get it going. I do make a mistake right here, actually, on my mulligans. I have 2 Reaver Scouts. This is what you want. You want 2 Reaver Scouts, 1 Redenian, and I mistakenly pitch a Reaver Scout. And the reason you want 2 Reaver Scouts is after you play the first Reaver Scout, you can play the second Reaver Scout on the first Reaver Scout to get your third Reaver Scout, and then target something else. And that's really useful for deck thinning. So to make up for my mistake, I attempt to pitch the Redenian. I don't need 2 at this point. I'm counting on King of Beggars getting Priscilla and Prince Stennis being able to help me fill the gap that I just created for myself. One of the really great things about this hand is that I do have the Medrome in my hand, and that's good. So he starts with the Reaver Hunter. That's a pretty standard opener. It's actually really smart because it protects against like a on the offhand you have a Scorch, and he plays the PFI directly after, which he does. And so I want to wait to play the Medrome and do the -4 buff until he does it, obviously. I don't want to do that proactively. I think here I consider playing the King of Beggars, because I know King of Beggars is going to get Priscilla, but I don't want Priscilla to get a Reaver Scout first. So I do play the Reaver Scout. I find a Redenian, and now I'm hoping that I can King of Beggars into Priscilla into a Reaver Scout or something. And so he plays Prince Stennis. That's a good play. He'll probably decoy that at some point, I think. So I play Priscilla. I get a really bad choice of 2 cards. I don't really want to play either one of them. Roach does less harm to me in the long run than wasting a field medic, so I opt to play Roach, and I spread the strength around by putting it in my front row. I'm debating playing the Stennis at some point here. He plays Thaler, which I don't think is a very good card. I think it's strictly worse than Johnny. If you have Johnny, I think that's a better card to play. So I play the Prince Stennis, and I don't want the Field Medic. Lacerate's not terrible. So here I can actually, I'll probably end up, I'm thinking I'm going to Lacerate the PFI to try and make it even harder for him to buff them and get that cycle going. He plays Priscilla, that's really good. Gets a field medic, that's really bad. He must have had the choice between 2 field medics, otherwise he wouldn't have chosen a field medic. So I do Lacerate the front row of the PFI. Decoys Priscilla, that's a good play. I think it might have been better to decoy Stennis though, I'm not sure. So this is really just a pass turn. I want to force him to play another card, and I don't want to invest too much in the card that I'm going to play. My hand's pretty good, so Trebuchet is the easiest thing I can get rid of. He plays Bloody Baron. This is really great. If you can ever get a PFI to play Bloody Baron or a Neneke on the first turn, you know you're really in a good position, because it just puts him so far behind. So he does get back the poor infantry. That signals to me that he has at least 1, if not 2, Madromes in his hand, and he's going to try and, you know, stick me on it later. I kill the Baron. This is essentially just another pass move. I really want to get to the point where I can react to him buffing his PFI. So I'm just trying to get there. He plays Priscilla again. This must be a hard choice. He takes a little bit of time. He gets another PFI. That really doesn't matter. So now I'm in a pretty bad spot here. So I do end up playing Yennefer, and I think about it for a long time. damaging his minions is obviously better in this case, but I know that this round's going to go on for a little bit longer than I would really like. So I play the Yennefer and I take the Carnifex to deal 2 damage to everything. Now that is good for me, but it's doubly good for me because it's actually going to put my Priscilla in the graveyard. So that means I can use Nenike to get her back, and hopefully find another Reaver Scout or that last Redenian to seal up this match. And at this point he uses this mutagen, he's trying to buff his PFI. I have a really easy choice to make. I just do the same thing back to him to take them down. If you can keep them from ever getting their buff, essentially PFI spends their entire first round trying to buff their poor infantry, so that in the next 2 they can, you know, really put the screws on you from an efficiency standpoint by the ways they can replicate them. So he does it again. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that. But now I'm only dealing with a strength 7 PFI, and I can deal with that. So I do Nenike. I get Priscilla back. I'm still looking to try and finish out this match. I want to get my Redenian. I want to finish it because I'm suspecting that he's going to do something to try and spin the match. I was actually thinking he was going to use his hero power, which I think he does end up doing. Which is pretty standard. They typically use the hero power in the first round or the second round, depending on how it goes, so that they have multiple copies of the high strength thing in their graveyard. Because then they can have a higher chance to get it back through the field medic or Nenike or whatnot. I pass here. I'm not very happy about it, but I just can't afford to play Bloody Baron or Shani. He promotes. This is actually really good for me. He burned his promote early. It does just barely take him over, which is kind of a bummer. But now I know whenever I get Scorch, I'm going to be able to Scorch his entire board, because he's not going to have another way to make him golden, aside from Shani. So I do lose the first round, which is not what you want. I really try and wrap games up in 2 rounds. That's the idea. So I do pick up the Scorch. And here I know that I'm going to have to probably start with the Bloody Baron. He's obviously going to pull out a 7 strength PFI. Oh, that's right, he does. He pulls out the Thaler, which I thought was really interesting. He should have just really put the screws to me and played the PFI. I think that was really a mistake on his point. I'm not sure what he was looking for or what's in his hand. I'm just looking through my graveyard, thinking about how I can possibly chain. I think I was looking at perhaps getting the King of Beggars back into something. And, you know, you always have to evaluate how much you can chain when you try and chain. And so I end up taking Priscilla into a field medic. Here I'm just trying to build as much of a chain as I can. Because if I had gotten a Reaver Scout, I could have Reaver Scouted the field medic and just continued the chain. Really, that's what you want to do as Northern Realms. And it's an early pass from him, which is fine. He thinks he's ahead because I burned my Bloody Baron, but I don't really care. The sad thing is I didn't have a chance to de-gold Yennefer, so I won't be able to get Yennefer back with my Shani. So I'm feeling like it's going to be a little bit of a rough last round, but I do have the Shani. I imagine he has the Shani as well. So it just kind of is what it is. Right now I have card advantage. I'm going to be playing first in the last round. That's okay. But I feel pretty good. And so we pass. Last round. Kedwenny. I know I have to start with Shani because it doesn't really matter what order I do things in here. I can't Scorch, obviously, but I'm trying to figure out what is the best way I can chain my Shani. And I think I end up playing King of Beggars, actually.
I'm a medic.
Because the hope is that King of Beggars is either going to pull out a field medic or a Reaver Scout. Oh, no, I go with Priscilla. Priscilla into field medic. It's really 6 to 1, half dozen to the other. But in this case, I knew I had the King of Beggars in there. So that's a really good little chain, and that's really what you should always be looking to do. Priscilla gave me the option. I guess it was better, because there were so few cards in my deck that King of Beggars would have left it more as a 50-50, whereas Priscilla allowed me to have a little bit of choice in the matter. So he Bloody Barons, not a big surprise. He's going to bring back two poor infantry that are strength 7. He doesn't have a way to replicate them. He doesn't have promote anymore, so I'm not terribly worried. And I know at this point I can play the Scorch because on the off chance he has a field medic to bring it back, I think I check his graveyard to try and figure it out. Or I think maybe, what do I do? Do I just Reaver Scout my field medic? That's a good play too. Do I have a field medic? Yeah, see. So I look, I don't have a field medic to do. I don't really have anything to do with Reaver Scout. So I think this is just actually a pass. It's an attempt to try and get him to burn something else from his hand. Because if he plays medic, then I want to be able... So I see that he has medic still in his deck, so that means there's a chance there's one in his hand. If he medics, I want to hit all of the PFI that are strength 7.
So, you idiot.
So that doesn't really matter. Getting that's just icing on the cake. This is essentially a pass play from him too. It does lose me 2 strength, where he is. It net losses me 2 strength. Here I just play the Scorch. Do I? I don't know. I think he has Shani in his hand. So I know that if I play the Scorch now, it doesn't really matter. Because Shani's going to bring back the 2 PFIs as gold anyway. I guess there's the off chance that it was a field medic, in which case I would have lost a net 14 damage on him. But I just do that. Even if it's field medic, he only gets 14 back. I'd still be ahead. But I'm almost sure that's Shani, and it does end up being Shani. And the best thing he can get back is 2 7/7s, which turn into 9 9s. But I think he actually opts to go with Priscilla, which is just because he knows that he has to find something else. I'm not sure what else he could have found in his deck to make it better, though. Perhaps Priscilla into field medic into
This is priceless.
another card. He ends up getting Prince Dennis, which I guess offers a ray of light for him. But it really just doesn't matter. I don't think there's any one card that could get him there. Even if he got like a Commander's Horn, that would only double 4. It's just not enough. So I play the Kidwenny. I think I degold the Shani just for kicks and giggles. Or Bloody Baron. It doesn't matter really. This game is pretty much over. Yeah. And he plays Igni. Now, there's not much I can do about that. I lose 8 strength. Sad face. I guess I could have seen that was going to put me on 20 and not played it, but I don't think that was the correct play. But I do always try and be on the lookout for which of your rows are going to be above 20. So, it was a good game. There's some interesting plays on his part. I'm not sure that, I made mistakes as well, so. Definitely always keep 2 Reaver Scouts over 2 Redenian Elites. That was definitely a mistake. And so here I have over 100 gold, so clearly I'm going to go... Oh, check my stat. 257. Getting up there. I want to try and get into like the top 20. Gotta buy a keg, man. It's so exciting. I guess normally I would probably edit this out, but this is my first time doing it. It's a bit of a maiden flight, so you're just getting raw, unfiltered footage, guys. Gotta check and see if there's any legendaries. Nothing. Do end up getting an epic. That's pretty nice. I've seen this ban Ard card, Margarita, I guess. I don't know what her name is. But that one Henslet deck, man, I had a player rock me. He played that so very well. I'm gonna have to look into it because it's a deck I'm not overly familiar with. I don't play against it. I've only played against it once on ladder, and it did handily beat me. But that's because my deck, the variation I was running at that time, didn't have very much interaction with his deck, so I couldn't do very much to him, which is what you really need to interrupt him. So we get into our second game. This is obviously Weather Monsters or Consume Monsters. I think it's Consume. This is one of the matches I don't really like playing. It's pretty hard. It's a pretty easy mulligan, though. I have 3 Redenians, and obviously you do not want that. So I'll pitch one, look, Kedwenny, pitch the other. And now I'm debating what third card I'd possibly want to drop. And I get rid of the Kedwenny. You really want a good mix of cards. I have no reason to have 2 D-Golders in my opener. So And having the Scorch is actually really nice, I like that. And so here, over the course of these first couple plays, you'll see me do what I call like the basic opener. It's Reaver Scout onto Kedwini, Reaver Scout onto Reaver Scout to pull out the third Reaver Scout onto the onto the Redenian, I'm sorry. So you end up with 3 gold Redenians and 3 Reaver Scouts. And he plays a Toad. I look at what he got rid of, the Namakara or whatever. That's okay. I almost think about scorching it, but I just decided to go straight up for right now with my standard opener. I think there is value in this Scorch though, because one of the things about monster, consume monster, and I know it's consume monster now that I've seen the Necker, is that one of the things it's really great at doing is persisting strength through rounds. And so here we see the Witchers. That's a good play. And right now I'm looking at my Trebuchet and I'm thinking how I can manipulate strengths to get to a point where I can either Igni for big value or I can Scorch for big value. Because right now Igni only does 7 and that's not enough. I don't like that. So I put the Trebuchet down and I deal damage to the Necker and to the center Witcher. And he ends up playing that. He eats a little bit of strength. That's fine. He's got an 8. Not a big deal. So now I'm kind of seeing, you know, Priscilla. I can play Prince. I opt to play Prince Stennis here because that's going to put another 8 on his front board, and then I'll be able to Igni that. Alternatively, if I would have gotten the other Trebuchet, I could have knocked that 8 down to a 6 and burned 3 6s. So you always, I think, a lot of decks run this with Jackdaws or Villain Trethenmel. I think that Igni is a little bit better because you have so many ways to manipulate strength. And so here he does a really good play. Spores onto Roach. That's really sad face because now I'm not going to get that extra 3 to 5 strength back when I res it with Yennefer or with any gold. And so I do this. I burn some strength off of his board. Get some gold power on mine. I like it. I feel pretty good about this. I'm a little bit scared about the 11 strength, and so I'm still fringe considering burning that with Scorch, but I figure he has enough minions on the board that I don't have to do that. Chances of him persisting the 11 are slim, and if he does, I can just really slow play that next round. I do decide to do it, I think. I Kedweni my Geralt, thinking that would be really important to replay again at some point in the future rounds, and I'm not sure if that was the right play. I don't know. It lost me a little bit of card advantage, and it was strength that didn't need to be played on the board, but I was willing to wager that against the versatility of having another Igni. And I do have the, now I have Shani, but I had Nanek in my hand, so I could have had control over when I played it. I play the Field Medic, just try and get a bit of a chain going. It ends pretty soon though, it's head base. Because if I had gotten a Scout, I could have scouted my Field Medic to get another play. And again, you know, having these chains is so important.
What do you
Could have Scorched here, but I opt to not do it, and I just play another Medic. Want to slow play. The board can get pretty big, so holding Scorch is important. This is a pretty awkward situation, so you can see me taking some time. I'm kind of thinking about maybe burning that 8 strength monster. Looking at the Necker, he actually hasn't gotten a warrior yet, so there's not a whole lot of damage that can be done from me killing that. I know he still has the weather effect, so I don't really want to build any one of my lanes too big. Look through my graveyard. Now I'm looking at what I could bring back. It would most likely be a King of Beggars with the neck.
Thank not me, thank Melitele.
And it does end up being a King of Beggars. It gives me the best chance for doing a long chain. And so, you see there, I was able to get 13 strength out of 1 card. This Caretaker is really good. Now, he doesn't take the Igni, which is, I'm thankful for. He didn't have anywhere he could play it. I was watching my lanes. But you always have to be aware of the Caretaker. Typically, if I have Yennefer in the graveyard on round 2, I will play her immediately to not allow them to take her with the caretaker. And so here I'm like, this is not good. You know, we're in a bit of an awkward board state right now, and I don't really like it. I essentially just want to give the round back to him. I want him to play another card, and I want to do so by, taking the least amount of value away from my hand to get him to play another card. So I just play the Madrome. I spores his 10 strength pool. And again, that's not a very high value card for me right now, so I'm just trying to get him to waste more cards. I know I'm not going to play the Shani, and I most likely won't play the Scorch either. But now I play the Scorch. 2 8s on board, that's a damage of 16 for Scorch. That's good enough. He also probably has Chiron, and I'm thinking that at this point, and I would be happy with him playing it at this point on the board. Because A, it's not going to persist. B, it reduces the number of cards that would be high strength that he could persist. Because Chiron's, he's gold. He doesn't persist. And so here, again, we're pretty close in strength. I'm really trying to get him to use a high value card. So I use my hero power, and I deal 6 damage to the caretaker. That is what happens. I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about possibly Shawning. I'm thinking about passing. I almost pass, but I just don't. I feel like right now I have the board pressure to win. And so I do. I use my hero power on the caretaker. And that ends up to be or create an interesting course of play. But I just feel like with the Shani in hand, I don't even want to give him the chance to draw another card. I think I can win this board right now. Even though he's up on cards to me and he has a weather effect. I know he's going to play the weather effect. The weather effect isn't going to deal that much damage to me though. He'll probably play it on the front. On the front line because I'll end up losing more strength than he will. He could play it on the back line if he was smart. And so here he plays Renew. I don't see many monster decks play Renew, and so I get burned a little bit. Fortunately, Geralt can't burn anything, so it's just 6 strength. And now I'm like, man. And I'm really, really contemplating passing the turn. But I look through my graveyard. I have Shani. There's not really a whole lot of great targets to get with Shani right now, so like it'd be a Redenian, it wouldn't do anything. If I wait, then I can Shani something better on the board back next turn. And that seems like a better value. Right now I'm doing the math on the weather effects, and I'm realizing that, it's just I don't have enough. But I think I took it as far as I could. And with a 1 point difference, you should be happy to pass because he's spending a lot of resources to win by a little bit, and he must spend the resources. So I pass. That's the best. It's one of the best points to pass from an efficiency standpoint because he has to spend an entirety of a card, and here he plays Chiron, which I thought he had. And he eats really interesting cards. He should have eaten the lowest strength cards, because that gives him the highest chance to persist high strength cards. I don't know why he ate the Ghoul. Now he eats the Necker thinking he's going to get another Necker back, but he never replicated any, so there's no more to get. And that actually ends up being really important as we progress to the next round. So now he has no Renew, no Caretaker, no Chiron, and I'm feeling pretty good because I have Shani and a Lacerate. Now he's technically up on cards to me because he started with a card on board, but he has to play first, which is really good. So he rallies, he gets the Warrior, finally saw it. That's a bit unfortunate for him. Bad draws, I guess. I play Shani. And here again, one of the key things about this deck, and any Northern Realms deck, is you want to maximize the chain of resurrection that you're going to get. It's King of Beggars. I lose a little bit of strength on the front end, but I know that whatever I get out from my deck is probably going to make up for it. And it does. It's a trebuchet. He plays horn. It doesn't matter. Slash slash. Good game. So that was 2 games. Hope you enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun. If you guys want to like leave any comments or anything like that, let me know what you might want to see done differently in the future, or you know, what you would like me to change. I'm open to it. I am going to keep trying to climb up the ladder, keep trying to go further. I don't know if I show it in this video. I don't think I do, but I ended at like 217 rank. So thanks guys, see you later, take it easy.